Hi everyone, so I've got another exam question breakdown for you. This is a calculator question that I found. It's a 5-mark question and it's to do with shape. It's a trigonometry question. So it's on the foundation paper. It will be one of the last questions that you will see. It's quite difficult. So I'm going to break it down for you. Okay, so here we have a rectangle. They've cut it through the diagonal like that, made 2 right-angled triangles. All that we know is that this angle here is 40 and the length of this red line here is 7. So how do we work this out? It wants us to work out the area of the rectangle and it wants us to give it to 1 decimal place. Well, to work out the area of a rectangle, let's just write this down because we could get marks for this. In fact, if we look at the mark breakdown, you will get marks for writing what you know. So area of a rectangle is equal to length times the width. Okay, and that's simple stuff, we know that. So the length is obviously here and the width is obviously here. We've got our length here, we've got our width here. So looking at these are the sides of the triangle as well, aren't they? So we've got a triangle here, which we're going to just think of it as a triangle now, a right angle triangle. So when we work with right angle triangles, it's either going to be Pythagoras or trigonometry. And trigonometry is the one that involves the angle, so it's going to be trig. And whenever we're talking trig, we're talking SOHCAHTOA, so we're going to write that out as well. Now that also shows the examiner that you've got a bit of an idea of what you're talking about, so you get potentially some marks for writing that. Okay, so here, move it down a little bit. So what have we got? We've got this right angle triangle. I'm just going to draw it out here again with an angle of 40 and a hypotenuse there of 7. So let's label the sides. That's what we do with trigonometry, isn't it? So opposite is this side, and that would mean adjacent is that side. Our hypotenuse is there. So let's work out how we're going to figure out. We want basically both of these sides, don't we? Because these are the length and the width. So let's look at how we're going to do that. Well, 40 here is opposite the angle, and so that means we need the opposite, or we want the opposite side. We've already got the hypotenuse, so I always just do this on my SOHCAHTOA here, which means I'm going to be using sine. So sine looks like this, doesn't it? Sine x is equal to opposite divided by hypotenuse. So now let's substitute in, because we'll get marks for substituting correctly. So sine 40 is equal to, we don't know the opposite, over 7. So that's my substitution. I now need to rearrange, so it's going to be sine 40 times 7 equals to my value. So I'm going to work that out here. So when I put that into my calculator carefully, I get an answer of 4.4, hopefully you get the same, 99, and there's lots of decimals. Now I've put 3 decimal places here, and that's important because I don't want to round too early on. Because what can happen if I do that is I can get the wrong answer when I come to multiply these numbers later. So I'm going to leave it just with lots of decimals at the moment. Okay, I need to do something else because I also need to work out this side length, the adjacent here. So to do that, I'm going to be using cos instead. Let's just see why. So 40 is our angle, so adjacent is what we want, so that would be here. And what we're given is hypotenuse, so that's there. So we're going to be using cos. And that looks like this. Cos x is equal to adjacent, this time over hypotenuse. So let's substitute in. Cos 40 is equal to adjacent over 7. Rearranging. Cos 40 is equal to, times by 7 is equal to the adjacent. So when we work that out, we should get a value of, I think it's 5.362, with lots of decimals. And I'm not rounding it to 1 decimal place yet because I could end up messing up my answer later on. Okay, so now we're on to the sort of final stretch here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to find the length, we're going to find the area by multiplying the length and the width. So we said, back up to our diagram, we said that the length was also called the adjacent, and we worked the adjacent out to be 5.362, so it makes sense it's the larger value. I'm just going to put that there, decimals like that. And then we said the width was 4.499 and so on. So I'm going to multiply those two numbers as they are. You could even leave them as you see them on your calculator screen, like the big numbers. So I am going to just do my 3 decimal places. So that gives me 24.126 with a couple of extra. And now, only now, am I going to round that off. So I'm now going to round it to make sure that I've got it as accurately as possible. So round it to 1 decimal place, that just rounds to 0.1, and then make sure I've got my units in as well for area. And that's the final answer. So let's break it down. What did we do? We got quite a lot of work here. We got the formula for the area of a rectangle, that's easy peasy. We also got the SOHCAHTOA formulas written out, so we know those off by heart. We showed our working out clearly for both length and width. This was the width, wasn't it? This was the length. And then we showed that we understood what to do with those by multiplying them and then rounding correctly as well. Obviously we didn't get a mark for each tick, but what I'm showing you is how to lay out your working out so that it's clear and that the examiner has no reason not to give you maximum marks in the GCSE exam.